voices blending, melodies ascending, harmony in the air. Our songs are never ending. In the barbershop we create magic. Brad and John show, yeah, it's pure classic. No instruments needed, just our vocal range. Notes flying high, it's our musical exchange. Tracy's station may try, but they can't compete. Our barbershop style, it can't be beat. Oh, the harmony of voices, so sweet. In the barbershop of life, our tunes will repeat. No need for instruments, no need for a band. Just the Brad and John show, the finest in the land.
John Combest, what day is it?
It is Sunday.
No.
Sunday.
No. When do we play the Barbershop Boys? Come on.
It's Friday, Brad.
Yes,
Happy Friday to you.
No, let me try to get that out of my mouth. December 5th. It is December 5th, 2025. And before I get into the John Combest, let me get into our phone numbers. 956-WESTPLEX, 956-937-8753. You can call and leave a message for us, or you can text us. You can do either of those two. Once again, 956-WESTPLEX, or 956, if you just want the numbers, 937-8753. And if you feel bad about the fact that John, the way he treats me on the show, you can call the 557 I'm sorry line and apologize for him instead of him doing it, because he'll never call 557 I'm sorry. But that's the I'm sorry line. If you have something to get off your chest, somebody you did something wrong to, you want to apologize to somebody, 557 I'm sorry. Now, we bring in these other boys. We have the Polka Boys, and who are the other boys we have, John?
The Polka Boys. You just said their name.
I meant to say the Barbershop Boys, and now we bring in the Polka Boys. Here they are.
Time for the John Combest Top 3.
And what is the John Combest Top 3? First off, John Combest puts together this incredible website called johncombest.com. Amazing how it's named after him. Combest, johncombest.com. Every single day, he puts together this incredible website with all these important links that you should know about in the state of Missouri. It's sort of like the Drudge Report before it went to hell in a handbasket, with all Missouri content, not just United States content. And we start off with this guy, and you know what, John? You know what he said to me?
I'm Casey
What did he
Kasem.
say to you, Brett?
He said he was upset because his union contract calls for a little bit more time on the air. So I said, okay, Casey, you can take a little bit more time.
We're on our way to the number one. Now on with the countdown. And here they are.
I think he feels better. And we start off with...
In third place,
A good piece of in-depth local coverage coming from the Washington Missourian and reporter Christopher Parker. Here's the headline. First months of school phone ban in the books. Boy, Brad, if you look back a year ago, you read newspaper commentary, you listen to the Brad and John show, and folks are talking about this cell phone ban in Missouri's public schools and all the hubbub. Well, as some folks probably predicted, I should say some folks definitely predicted, the phone ban in Missouri's public schools has led to generally increased behavior, increased good behavior, I should say. So Chris Parker went out and talked to a high school senior, St. Clair High School senior Logan Lane. Boy, is that a Gen Z and Gen Alpha name or what? Hey, Logan. What's up, Logan? Logan says the new law hasn't changed his day-to-day life at all. Maybe it changed it a little bit. You see, Logan oversees a bunch of FFA groups, Future Farmers of America. And he says that back in the day, he used to be able to, check his email throughout the day. If some of those other, say, chapter presidents had questions about stuff. Now he really doesn't have time to do it except during his lunch hour or after school. But even Logan says, not a big deal. And at the end of the story, Chris Parker quotes Logan as saying, if everybody can't be on their phones, who's really going to be texting me? You know what I mean, Brad? Like, if all your friends have to put their phones away too, nobody's going to be texting you throughout the day. Excuse me. Now, I will say one important anecdote from the principal of Washington Middle School. She says she had braced for more resistance to this phone ban from students and parents when the ban went into effect. But she says that this year, she has not had to take a single phone away from a student this year. And she credits the participation and support of Washington Middle School families. Her quote is, "The parents are amazing. They're like, nope, he's not supposed to have it." So it's been really nice. And Brad, if you're the kind of guy that wants a little bit of data of how do you know this is really improving behavior, the phones had a huge effect because in the first quarter of the semester at the middle school, she had 129 referrals to the office, like bad behavior referrals, like a teacher can't handle a student. She had 129. Last year, over the last 3 years, there would be 250 per semester. So she's already seeing an increase in behavior. Now, I'm a contrarian, Brad, and I say, well, there's probably other confounding factors. You can't just attribute that to a cell phone ban, and I'm probably right. But it would seem anecdotally and quantifiably that the phone ban has had an increase. It's had a positive effect on student behavior. Now, if I recall correctly, Brad, you suggested that we should just have phones and we should have everybody, you should have the entire class be recorded. And that way, that would improve student behavior, right, Brad?
Right. The students should sit there in the desks, and they should have their phone on camera mode, in video mode, and record the entire class. That way, they could sit there, and if they're doing their homework and want to review their class, which I know they would, they want to go back. What did Mrs. Smith say about the 2nd century BC epidemians? They could just, go back and rewind, and there was Mrs. Smith, and the 2nd century BC epidemians were of the epidemiing phase. See, they would know that, and they would be ready.
It would just be like online learning. You could rewind it as if it were a Netflix special.
Okay, I got a question for you. Are they bringing the phones to school and then they have them in their locker? Do they have like little cubby holes they have to put them in? What's the deal with that? Are they just not allowed to have the phones at school?
No, they can have them at school. I think that they have to be put away. So you can have them in your backpack. You can have them in your locker. And as I understand it, you can whip it out during the lunch hour. But when the teacher's blabbing on in history class about Ron Grubbs or something, and you're like, why does the district decide to hire old radio guys to serve as substitutes? You can't whip your phone out and start texting people. You can only do it during non-education time.
I had a friend that went to Saw J High School, and he talked about how he used to be able to whip it out during his lunch hour.
I bet he did, Brad. I bet he did. He went to the Hildebrand table with the pink slip.
I'm sorry. Okay. Ready for number 2?
Yeah, let's do it, Brad.
Up a notch to number 2.
We have another piece of good local journalism from right here in our broadcast area. This time it's the Warren County Record, and they're reporting on Ameren. In fact, editor William Carroll. This is really a tale of two dueling headlines, though, Brad, because we have one from the Warren County Record, and then we have a fresh, hot off the press headline from St. Louis Public Radio. Let's start with Warren County, though. The Missouri Public Service Commission approved the Ameren plan for large data customers. Now, you and I discussed this, I believe, immediately prior to the Thanksgiving holiday. And we talked about how unique it was that Ameren was somehow sitting down at the same table as these big data companies, think of Amazon and Google and others, as well as the Sierra Club of all people, and hammering out some sort of a compromise. And I noted that it seemed like a win-win for everybody, because Ameren can say, hey, we met with some of our harshest critics and some of our biggest customers, and we were able to hammer out a deal. And if you're the Sierra Club, you could say, yeah, we told Ameren what's what, and we got concessions from them. Write us more nonprofit money. Well, not every citizens group, not every do-good group is on board with this. And National Public Radio's St. Louis Public Radio, today, consumer advocacy group asks for redo an Ameren, Missouri data center case. This is brought to us by Kate Grumke. Excuse me. And I'll read just the headline or just the lead here, Brad. As new rates for large data centers take effect in Ameren, Missouri service territory, the Consumers Council of Missouri, filed a motion for a rehearing or reconsideration of the case late on Wednesday. The Consumers Council, which advocates for monopoly utility customers in Missouri, said the agreement in Ameren's case does not sufficiently protect others from rate increases driven by large data centers. So the way that I read this, Brad, the Consumers Council of Missouri, which, by the way, has been around for a long time, and if you are a ratepayer advocate, I think you look at these folks as being your people. They are essentially saying, we don't care about the compromise that these other groups sat down and hammered out. It wasn't fair that the Missouri Public Service Commission just pushed this compromise through. We need stronger protections for ratepayers so that we are not subsidizing the the energy use by these big data companies. So, Brad, the data center compromise, the data center fights just continue to go on and on. And I would just add something that you and I have touched on briefly before, which is this doesn't seem to be a partisan issue. You have a lot of right-wing people, I think you would say, that don't want these big data centers coming into their community. You would categorize them as not in my backyard and citizens against virtually everything. And then you have a bunch of traditionally progressive groups that are always wary of electric utility monopolies. And they seem to be forging maybe a loose coalition against the Amerens and Evergys of the world. What do you think, Brad?
John, you don't want to know what I think.
I do want to know what you think.
See, first off, I'm going to go in a direction you're not going to expect. Okay, this is the beauty of radio broadcasting. Okay, we put up a tower. We turn on the electric. I pay an electric bill. Sometimes not as promptly as I should, according to Quiver River. But I put up a transmitter tower, and the signal emanates out into our coverage area, and people can listen to that in their cars, and it doesn't cost them anything, nor is there any energy cost. Get what I'm saying? They're in their car, their generator is working, their alternator is turning, and it's providing power to the battery, which keeps the car running, and it costs no extra energy at all to listen to radio. If you listen at home and on your little, tabletop radio, very minimal charge, okay? When you're using your cell phone, you're using tremendous amounts of energy all over the world because that's the way the internet works. Your packet of data may be flying in through India and then back across the Pacific or the Atlantic, whichever way it goes, and it's using all these data centers. And now we want to have even more data centers. They're just scooping up, just gobbling up power. Okay, I say let's shut down the internet and let's just put more radio stations on the air. What do you think, John?
That's brilliant. And I think that, first of all, we should start with a mandate that car companies put some old-timey gimmick in their car. I was pushing for maybe Morse code, but if that doesn't work, maybe ham radio. And if that doesn't work, maybe AM radio.
Dot, 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 dot. You know what that is?
Yeah, it stands for John's a jerk to Brad.
No, it just says that's John in Morse code.
Oh, very good, Brad. I appreciate that. I'm just familiar with SOS, and that's about all.
I know Morse code, and one of the more useful things that I know. Okay, I don't know. The whole thing to me is crazy. The thing to me is I don't think there's much ado about nothing because all they should say is Ameren should say, okay, guys, here's our rates. This is what we charge John Combest at his house. This is what we charge all our other customers. This is what we charge our business customers. Here's our rate card. If you want our service, tell us how much you need and just pay the damn bill. Right? Done, over with, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think there'd be a lot of legislators, though. If you're a big union Democrat or you're a big pro-business Chamber of Commerce Republican, you say, well, I understand that, but we should also offer these folks an incentive to come here. Because I was listening to the Brad and John show, And I heard Brad Hildebrand go on rant after rant about how some companies go to Louisiana and they're welcome with open arms. And it's a boon for the Louisiana economy. We can't question Brad Hildebrand, but he's entirely reliable.
Whoa.
So we should allow these data centers to have a little extra break to incentivize them to come here.
Hold on just a minute. Louisiana project, I read about that, which is a meta project. They're going to generate their own power. See, that's the difference. They're going to generate.
Oh, maybe they could put up some solar panels like you have, Brad. You know who's not using solar panels? The subject of story number one.
The number one.
There's an article in Politico today about a popular topic across the country and in Missouri, which is redistricting. And Brad, believe it or not, we're not going to take that dead horse into our proverbial studios and beat it to death again. But in digging through this redistricting piece, which is brought to us by Aaron Pellish of Politico, Aaron includes a curious note. One of the donors to the anti-redistricting campaign, so that would be the progressive campaign, a large donor named Cori Bush. Now, Cori Bush, according to this piece, has given $250,000 to the People, Not Politicians campaign. The reason why I find this confounding is when Cori Bush announced that she might be running at the end of September, and then she announced she was definitely running beginning of October, a number of news pieces covered the fact that her campaign has historically been in a little bit of money trouble. Now, Cori Bush has had her own personal financial issues, which have been well documented. She's had, even an investigation into whether or not she spent taxpayer and or campaign money properly to pay her husband for security. So she has her personal money issues. And what the Politico story didn't denote is whether or not Cori made this contribution personally, which I don't think is the case, or whether she made it with campaign funds. But either way, Brad, let's go the campaign route. If Cori started her congressional campaign, depending on the stories you believe at the beginning of October, either with minimal money or even in debt, how in the world can she afford to give $250,000 to the People, Not Politicians campaign? I don't understand how that works.
Well, John, wouldn't this be researchable through the MEC?
No, it would not.
Why is that?
And here's why, Brad. Because the report, if Cori began raising money in October, she doesn't have to report it to the beginning of January. So there's no transparency on whether or not of how much money she has raised this quarter.
Well, but come January 2nd, we would know the truth, right?
Well, it wouldn't be released until January 15th, but your point is taken, yeah. But I'm saying today, Brad, today is December 5th, and we don't have an answer to that.
So I'm confused in this. So she's giving campaign money to another campaign?
Yeah, which happens every day.
Ah, man. Politics is just such a mess.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It's such a mess.
The other thing that it could be, so here's the possible explanation. It's possible that Cori beginning to raise money in early October, it's possible that she's raised so much money that she looks at it at the end of November, beginning of December, and says, you know what? I've raised $1 million. It would look really good if I gave $250,000 to this campaign. And if you follow that logic, Brad, even though Cori Bush's district, the Wesley Bell District, Missouri Congressional District 1, as we've beaten this to death, God knows, cannot be applied to your dumb square rectangle redistricting idea because it's protected by the Voting Rights Act of 1965. It would be a smart move for Cori to support People, Not Politicians. These are the most ardent people, whether they're volunteers and or paid. They're out there collecting signatures. These are your activists. You want these people on your side, or you at least don't want them supporting Wesley Bell. So it would make a lot of sense if Cori had the cash to give it to People, Not Politicians. But I just don't understand how she was able to raise so much money so quickly and give $250,000. Now, I am aware of the fact that she's a black woman And there is such a thing called black girl magic. Do you remember black girl magic, Brad?
Yeah, the Post-Dispatch did lots of articles about that.
Oh, boy, Mike Bush talked about it too. Okay. Now, maybe Cori Bush has so much black girl magic. There was a full moon last night, by the way, so maybe she did a little conjuring there. I don't know. Black girl magic does have its limitations. Like, Tashara Jones was a black girl, and she couldn't make snow disappear. So I guess there are some limitations. But maybe Cori used her black girl magic and raised $1 million in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and can give $250,000 to people, not politicians. If I was someone skeptical of Cori Bush, I would probably inquire, did she really give $250,000 to people, not politicians, and how could she possibly afford it?
Well, I think that we need to start a new PAC called Radio People, Not Politicians, and talk to Cori, see if she can send us some money. What do you think, John?
Oh, that's a great idea, Brad. I'm sure she would love that.
Yeah, I bet
Maybe we
would.
could buy some time on WGNU.
I bet you would. Yes, WGNU's gone. Okay.
It's the Brad and John Show.
It's the Brad and John Show.
Hold on
Maybe
a minute,
John.
John.
Technical operations. We're not playing an intro at the end of the segment.
Hold on a minute. I have no idea how that just started. I really don't. I wasn't even touching anything.
You know what it was, Brad?
Tell me, John.
White boy magic.
White boy magic. Okay. I don't know why that happened. Okay, we're going to take a break. I'm not kidding you. It wasn't even close to the keyboard or the mouse. It just all of a sudden just fired off. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the Bravo Block.